Alright, Jeff, what the hell just happened?
Well, I was enjoying a nice meal with a couple of poker vloggers and took a few minutes too long and I missed the whole bad beat jackpot.
Yeah. You have something.
We have a lovely dinner at Steak and Shake with fellow poker vloggers Jeff Boski and Rampage Poker, and also my buddy Brad joins us as well. Jeff and Ethan are having a pissing contest about whose Tesla is faster, and when Jeff returns to the poker table, he quickly realizes that his table hit the bad beat jackpot and he gets absolutely nothing. Not only that, but every active player in the poker room gets a few $100s as well. Sounds like a bad beat to me.
Alright, Jeff, what the hell just happened?
Well, I was enjoying a nice meal with a couple of poker vloggers and took a few minutes too long and I missed the whole bad beat jackpot.
Yeah. You have something. You know how much?
Oh, they're celebrating in his face. Look at this. Look at this. They're taking pictures. We sit down at the 2-3 game. We're in for 500. We have 500 in our stack. Pocket queens on the button. Under the gun limps. I raise it up to 20. Small blind and the under the gun position call. So we're going 3 ways to the flop. 63 in the pot. The flop comes jack, 3, deuce. We flop an overpair. The small blind and the under the gun position check, and I want to get value here from all diamond draws and all jacks, so I bet $35. The small blind calls and the under the gun position folds, so we're going heads up to the turn. 133 in the pot. The turn now comes the 9 of clubs, brings in the backdoor club draw, but pretty much a blank, so when the small blind checks again to me, I size up this time to 115. I'm experimenting with my turn sizes, and I like going big here to get value from all worse hands and draws. He doesn't really think about it for too long and calls. 363 in the pot. The river comes the 3 of spades. This board is now paired, so we beat jack 9 if he caught up on the turn. He checks for a third time now, and I'm going to bet the same amount, 115, targeting all jacks. Unfortunately though, he finds a fold in this spot, and we drag a $478 pot. 675 now in our stack. We look down at 9-7 of spades from the button. Under the gun limps. Under the gun plus 1 raises to 12, and I decide to open my range up a little bit and 3-bet to $37. Under the gun and under the gun plus 1 know that I'm up to something here and both put in the call, so we're going 3 ways to the flop with 116 in the pot, which comes king, 8, deuce, 1 spade. It's a terrible flop for my exact hand, but my range will have a lot of king X in it, so when both players check to me in flow, I bet $45. Only the under the gun position calls. No worries though, I can rep a king and there's a bunch of turn cards that will give us a bunch of equity. The turn with 206 comes the 8 of hearts, which is not one of those cards. To make matters worse, under the gun now leads for $50, and there's not much for us to do here, so I make an easy fold, and he scoops a $256 pot. $555 in our stack. We look down at king 10 of diamonds from the big blind. The straddle's on, there's 3 calls, and I call looking to flop a big hand, and the straddle luckily checks his option. We're going 5 ways to the flop with $30 in the pot. Comes 10 of hearts, 9 of spades, 4 of spades. Obviously I hit top pair, which is a good hand, so I decide to lead here for $20, and 2 of the limpers call. Going 3 ways to the turn with $90 in the pot comes the jack of spades. That brings in king queen, queen 8, and 7-8, who all now make a straight. But that doesn't slow me down and deter me from betting. I bet 45. When both players call again, I'm going to be slowing down on the river here. So with 225 in the pot, the river comes the 3 of hearts, which is a complete blank. I check, the first limper checks, and now the button bets $85. I think his sizing here is a tell on how strong his hand is. I think he would size larger with many bluffs, and we're not exactly at the top of our range here to call. So I decide to fold, and the other player does as well. So unfortunately we don't get to see what he had there, but he's going to scoop that $310 pot. At this point of the night, I tell Ethan that the action is good on my table, and he comes over to donate some chips. 480 now in our stack. We pick up pocket queens again, this time in the under the gun position. I raise it up to 20, and my left calls. So we're going heads up to the flop with $45 in the pot. Comes king, 3, deuce. There's always an overcard when you have a large pocket pair. I decide to start with a check here for pot control and deception, and my left checks as well. Still 45 in the pot. The turn comes the 4 of spades. 5, 6, and ace 5 make a straight, but I want to get value from some pocket pairs, so I bet $20, and he quickly throws in 20 as well. 85 in the pot. The river comes the 7 of clubs, which is pretty much a brick, so I bet 35 again here, just going for thin value. He doesn't call, but he doesn't fold, so that means he raises. He raised me up to $85 here, and for $50 more, I can't fold, so I toss my chips in pretty easily, and he shows ace 8 of clubs for a complete airball bluff with ace high, so we're going to take down that $255 pot in what seems like an early Christmas gift. 560 now, we're on the button with pocket 10s. Middle position raises to 15. I call, the small blind calls, and the big blind calls. In hindsight here, I would prefer to be 3-betting somewhere in the neighborhood of $45, but now we're going 4 ways to the flop. $60 in the pot. It comes king, queen, jack, so we flop an open-ended straight draw, and when it checks to me here, I decide to start betting, and I make a semi-bluff for $35. Only the small blind calls. Heads up to the turn with 130 in the pot. Comes the 3 of diamonds. Small blind checks to me again here, and I decide to take the free card and see if I can make a straight on the river, so I check behind. 130 still in the pot. The river comes a 6 of diamonds, bringing in the diamond flush. He leads now for $75, and unfortunately we just don't have a strong enough hand here to find a call. Maybe if we had a queen or something like that, we could put in a call. But I find a fold here, and he drags that $205 pot. $520 now in our stack. We're in the hijack with ace 10 offsuit. Folds to me, so I decide to raise it up to $15, and we get called from the cutoff, small blind, and the big blind. So we're going 4 ways to the flop, which comes ace, 3, 6. We flop top pair. When it checks to me, I make a pretty standard c-bet for around 25% of the pot. Everyone folds though, and we just take down $75 pretty easily. It's getting late now and our table breaks, so we're on a new table, and before I could record my hand, we turn a straight with 7-8 offsuit. We go for the old check raise. We check raise big on the river, and we end up winning a nice pot. Fortunately, right after that, this 2-3 game breaks. We have a decision of either waiting for our name to be called for the other 2-3, the only one that's left, or taking a seat at the 1-2 table in the meantime. We choose the second option because we're here to play. We didn't come to Vegas to wait on a board. And somehow they let me play all of my chips from the 2-3 game. I think the 1-2 game was capped at 200 or 300, but we start with 520. We look down at ace, jack of diamonds from the cutoff. There's 2 limps to me. I raise it to 15, and the big blind and the under the gun limper call, so we're going 3 ways to the flop. 49 in the pot. It comes ace, 5, queen, rainbow. We flop top pair and some backdoor draws. Checks to me, and I decide to be deceptive and check behind here. The turn with 49 in the pot comes a deuce of hearts, which is a complete brick. The big blind checks again now, but now the under the gun position bets $21. I debate about raising here, but I want to keep his bluffs in his range, so I just call, and that also brings in the big blind. Still 3 ways to the river with 112 in the pot comes the 10 of clubs. King jack now makes a straight, and we're losing to king queen, but the big blind checks again. Under the gun bets again, this time for $30. And for $30 here, I make a pretty easy call given the way I played the hand, and the big blind folds. Under the gun shows pocket 4s for a complete bluff, and we scoop that $142 pot. In my opinion, that just shows how checking the flop with a strong hand like a pair of aces can get people to blast off against you, but you just need to make sure that you end up calling them down. It's almost 4 in the morning now, and our name isn't being called for the other 2-3 game. So we rack up our chips and head to the cage. Alright guys, that does it for us here at the South Point. We got into the game for 500, switched like 8 tables it seemed like, got out for 550, so a net profit of $50. If you guys like this video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace! Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.